Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Hub World Podcast. Today's episode will be a Paper Mario Classic Partners Showdown. My name is Matteo, and today I'm joined by
Gino.
Gules
and Joe.
Whether you're joining us from YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, be sure to like and subscribe. Now, let's get this showdown going.
I'm going to hijack this from you, Matteo, because we haven't done a showdown in a while. So I'm just going to remind our listeners what that is. So Hub World Showdown is when we do a series of tournament-style brackets on a certain topic, and we have internal debates, and then we talk about them for maybe like 2-3 minutes, then put it to a vote. In the event of a tie, I don't know what we want to do because we've never actually done one of these with an even number of people, so we'll figure that out when the time comes. Maybe we flip a coin, maybe we roll a dice, I don't know. Maybe we just wait till somebody inevitably just
Caves.
But what we are doing this time, we are doing the classic partners from Paper Mario. And by classic, we mean from the first 2 games. We thought this would be a relevant and fun topic to do because Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door remake just got announced a little while ago. And we're all very excited. So we want to relive some of our love for the games. So we thought this could be the first in what might be a couple of different Paper Mario podcasts throughout the next year. Now, just to make the bracket fit nice, we want to make sure there were 16, so we did add Twink from Paper Mario 1 to the list as our 16th partner because he is kind of an honorary partner, being Peach's partner throughout the first game. So we have a nice even number of 16. So are we ready to get the showdown going?
Yep.
Do it.
Our first battle comes between the last partners from both games, Ms. Mouse and Lackluster. Who would like to start off?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind actually taking the start on this one here. My first playthrough of the Thousand Year Door, I did not know that you could actually recruit Miss Mouse, and I thought she was just a really interesting side character that you could run into every now and then. While Lackluster actually, I believe, was a story mode, kind of you cannot miss this because it's part of the main game. And I always thought Lackluster was kind of cool. I liked Lakitus and things. Miss Mouse is a great, I feel, side character. And because she is technically missable, I wasn't really able to use her too much in my party. My second playthrough, though, I made sure to get her. And I hate to say it, I was a little disappointed. I didn't really know what to do, what her whole gimmick was. After I upgraded her a little bit, though, I did have a little bit more fun, but I just used a better partner. It was a little too late. If you get her way earlier, I feel like she would have been way more useful.
I agree with you.
My vote has to go to Lackluster, and he's got cool goggles too.
Yeah, I'm also with Lackluster. Miss Mouse is missable because she's just a missable character. So Lackluster done.
I will chime in, and I say this with all due respect. Lackluster is the worst partner across both games. I think he's stupid. You get him way too late in the game, and he's worse than all the partners that come before him. I don't like him at all. And I don't think he should win against any character on this list, let alone Miss Mouse, who I think is a very compelling party member. I like the fact that she's optional because I think she's a character that they, use throughout the game, make you kind of question who is this character, and then when you can recruit her, I think it's really cool. I also think she is useful when you get her because even though the characters before her do a little bit more damage, she pierces, so she's really useful, especially in the late game dungeons or the Pit of 100 Trials where the enemies have a lot of defense. So I personally am going with Miss Mouse on this one.
Yeah, Jules, you kind of took a lot of the words out of my mouth. I cannot vote against Miss Mouse. I really like her, and just her whole cat burglar type vibe that she has with the cool mask and stuff. But now we're one battle in, and we're already at a deadline here. So what do we do?
I think we start by trying to convince.
Yeah.
Right? That's where we start. And I will just start by saying that I think that these characters are in very similar boxes. Sure, Lackluster is on the main path, so you don't miss him. And Miss Mouse is missable. But I think even if Miss Mouse was missable, most people would have a stronger impression of her as a character than they would about Lackluster, because I don't think Lackluster has much of a character. There's a lot of reason to just shelve him after you get him, because he's not... most of the partners when you get them are useful when you get them. Even in his own level, I don't find him any more useful than the other characters, even against the boss.
I will say with Laka he's got the goggles and he goes really fast. So he's like the bike in Pokemon. You just use him as a utility partner just to help you get places quickly.
He's so useful.
I don't think he's as fast as just doing your little twirly thing in the first game.
Yeah, technically that's a speedrun stretch to use that. However, I find them more useful to cross different like gaps and hazards. Whereas Miss Mao's ability to sniff out items, I use that as like
That's
if
fair.
you're new at Paper Mario and new at stuff, like that's like a newbie tool. Therefore, she's a
That's
newbie
fair.
partner. She also heals you again. Newbie tool, use an item. It's easy mode. Easy mode partner. Not a true hardcore Paper Mario player if you use Miss Mouse.
That's really helpful though at the end of the game for her to be able to sniff out items. Like the healing is whatever, but like I don't know, I think finding stuff that you've missed, like star pieces and things like that, like if there's something you like really want to buy at the shops at the end of the game, having her out I think is a no-brainer.
She has a reason to use her, and like
Yeah.
that's my issue with Lackluster is like all the at least in Paper Mario 1. In Paper Mario 1, they like incentivize using the partner in the chapter you get them by making the boss tied to that character, and they don't do that with Lackluster. Lackluster is not the best character to use against Huff and Puff. He's like absolutely not the best one. Whereas like Sushi and Watt are the best to use against their respective, and literally, I'm not even kidding you. Like Lackluster, when I get Lackluster, the only time I pull him out is when I need to go over the spikes, and that's it. Like I've never used him in combat because his abilities just suck compared to everything that come before him.
But Lakatus are cool, and you never actually like have any like Lakatu representation outside of like Mario Kart with like the little cameras and the TV crew. Like Lackluster was like our first real like taste of that outside of like being the camera in Mario.
Okay, throw it back at you. There's no mouse representation outside of Miss Mouse.
There is actually. There's Mauser in Mario 2.
Mouser.
Yeah, there is, but that's like saying that Lakitu is in all the games that he's in.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Honestly, I wanted to give Laka a good go, Joe.
Wait, stop, Gino. Don't finish your sentence. But what do you even use Miss Mouse for in battle?
To pierce enemies, like if you're fighting like Bone Tail or you're fighting like the Shadow Queen, for example, like you don't have to worry about any of the defense. You can pierce through it.
That's easy mode.
That's not easy mode. That's just strategy.
I'm gonna pull a Riley here. That's not a strategy.
You can also steal. So if you want to get items off of something, like some enemies carry badges, you could steal them off them.
That's true.
If you need Lackluster to literally progress through the story of the first Paper Mario, like aren't there certain gaps you literally cannot cross without him?
Yes.
Okay. So therefore, automatically, in my opinion, better than her. Because you don't need
her. Ms. Mouse has a better character.
Optional point. My question is Miss Mouse in a relationship with another character? Isn't Lackluster in a relationship with the... I don't know. Sounds like she kind of makes her rounds.
Yeah, so...
Joe, what are you insinuating with that statement?
She's constantly smooching Mario.
I understand anything.
You know, I'll be honest. I don't want to die on the Ms. Mouse hill.
Yeah.
So I genuinely believe
Jules. It's okay.
I genuinely believe Lackluster is the worst party member and whatever, but
Gino, let's just fall over.
But I'm willing to fall over too. I don't think anyone cares about the outcome of this.
Nobody cares enough. Let's just
ridiculous.
Flip a coin, okay?
We didn't even get to the first
flipping a coin right now, okay? I'm flipping a coin right now, okay? I'm flipping the coin. I'm on Google flipping the coin. What are we saying? Tails should be
Miss Mouse,
and heads should be Lakitu, okay?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. It is heads. So Lackluster, you can move on.
God damn it.
This is a hub world first.
I like how we all agreed that we didn't care. After arguing for 10
It's not
minutes.
the hill we're gonna die on. Like we care, but it's just not the hill we're gonna die on. Now, see this next one, Goombella and Vivian, is tough because they both have so much great representation on Google Images.
No. God, jeez. For this one, I'll start. It's easily Goombella for me. Like she's the first partner you get in Thousand Year Door. When I think of Paper Mario partners and like how criminal it was in games after Thousand Year Door where they got rid of partners and they like basically sucked all the personality out of those games. For me, when I think of a personality of a partner, I think of Goombella.
Mm-hmm.
And her tattle ability is arguably one of the most useful moves in that whole game.
Agreed.
And I just love the whole like sort of idea of completing your book and tattling all the enemies and having all that, like, to me, like, I never really liked Vivian as a partner. She was probably my least used partner in that game. Maybe there's one other one I'll get to later, but like, I don't know. Goombella to me is just like, she's the first and she's arguably like my favorite in Thousand Year Door. I wouldn't say she's the
Yeah,
best in that game, but like, she's just so useful and just oozing with personality.
I see your point. I kind of agree. And what's tough about these characters is that they both have a lot of personality. And if I'm being honest, I don't like the Goomba partners because I think that they are useless. Now, let me tell you a tale. That is the opinion I had for all of my many playthroughs of Paper Mario 1 and 2. I was like, Goombella and Goobario are useless. Once you get the Koopas, there's no reason to ever use them again except for Tattle. That's it. So I would have easily said Vivian just for the fact that I found she was more useful. However, on my most recent playthrough of Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, I did the challenge playthrough of not giving yourself any health and only putting it into badge and flower points. And I discovered through this method that Goombella is the best partner in the entire game. Without her, I would have never finished the game. And Goombella, my entire perspective of the Goombas changed. And it's for one specific reason, and it's because Goombella's final ability gives Mario a second turn. She can just pass her turn to him. And for that reason, Goombella is the most useful partner in the game.
Because Mario
You're
is
not-
the most broken character in
Yeah.
the game.
That's funny.
But no, I actually would go with Goombella. Goombella has grown on me. She has a really strong character.
She's
Yeah.
got a
She's
great
very
outfit
likable.
too.
Yeah, she is. She is very, very cool. I like her. Just don't Google search her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't.
Vivian just isn't good at all. Honestly, I don't like any of the Shadow Sirens. They were this menacing and like kind of like mean forced, and like the two other sisters were kind of just like bullying Vivian all the time. And then once Vivian switches sides, they become essentially like Team Rocket, the joke.
Actually, they were the joke from the beginning.
I noticed the real big shift to after Vivian's all like, I'm sick and tired of this. I'm gonna leave you for Mario. But the thing is though, like Vivian's abilities, I don't like the whole kind of just like, I don't know. Goombella's just way better, and for all the reasons that you guys said, turning invisible or like pulling Mario into the ground, it's just like, okay, fine, whatever. That's just Bow, but like worse, in my opinion. I don't know.
Bow? You mean
So I'm gonna
bow?
go with Goombella also. I thought it was Bow. Oh,
She literally wears bows.
I noticed that, but I always in my head that's what it was.
Well, you learn something new every day.
It sounds like I'm the only person that actually used Vivian. Like
I use
frequently
her.
throughout. Like I used her a lot throughout Thousand Year Door that I can remember, like as a kid. Like frequently. But I think I agree. I think Goombella is more of a character. Strong, independent Goomba.
She's educated. Okay. There you have it. Goombella moves on to the next round. We now have
It's
a
stressful.
battle between the two characters who technically originate on Yoshi's Island, Sushi and Yoshi Kid.
I mean, it's got to be Yoshi Kid, right?
Second that.
Is this even a battle?
It's hard because here's the thing. I do really love Yoshi Kid, but Sushi, she's so great. She's a really fun character, and I do really like her in gameplay. And I think she's super useful as a character, but that being said, Yoshi Kid is also super useful outside of combat. And Yoshi Kid obviously is cute, and we all love Yoshis, and he has a mohawk, and we all have different associations with him because he has, different colors depending on when you get him.
You can
So-
nickname him whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can also
Like-
force the color on the Yoshi Kid if you change your name, the file name, to a color name.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love his attitude as well. Like, and in
Yeah.
combat, he's in my opinion, he's arguably the best partner to have. Like, the ground pound ability is so good, and just like, what a great design. It's everything you love about Yoshi, but like, he's got attitude. I love it. He's just
Yeah.
honestly, I think it's my favorite. I think he's my favorite partner in all of Paper Mario, period.
I think personality and like outside of battle use, he's like pretty high up there. In battle, I kind of disagree with you. In battle, I actually like he's good when you get him, but he's somebody who becomes trivial later because two of his main abilities, which are the ground pound and the gulp, are pretty trivial against like large enemies because you can't gulp like big bosses, and anything that has even one defense, you can't do damage with the ground pound. So I actually don't think he's great in combat, but I do think he's strong enough that I would place him higher than Sushi.
I have a story for you all, though, to change your mind.
Okay, let's hear.
The history of Sushi. Does anyone remember how Sushi joined your party?
You have to get all the Yoshi kids back, right?
So, Sushi, who apparently was their babysitter of the Yoshi children, went looking for them. The Yoshi children, who were playing hide and seek together, pulled a prank on Sushi, leaving her to be on top of a tree, and then they ran off and stranded her on top of the tree. Are you really gonna let Yoshi Kid, which is a descendant of these Yoshi children, beat Sushi, who was so hurt by their actions?
Yes.
Well, I guess that's that. Yoshi it is.
That was a good story though.
Yeah.
That is how it happened.
I remember that, and I was kind of like, wow, these Yoshi kids are kind of jerks. But that's not this Yoshi. This Yoshi calls you the Great Gonzalez.
This Yoshi looks like a jerk.
Nah, he's just a bratty little kid.
I'll be
I
honest,
want a
not
plush
all.
of that Yoshi.
Yeah, I agree.
Man, you want a plush of all
not
the partners.
all the colors of this Yoshi look cool in my opinion.
Yeah.
Some of the mohawks look dumb.
The blue one, the light blue Yoshi, was awful, and it had like a yellow poop swirl.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Like, not all of them are great, but a lot of them are. Okay, we're on to Koops from Thousand Year Door and Watt from the original.
I always thought that Watt was supposed to be like a child of the angry sun from Mario 3. That was like the worst enemy to go up against in the original one, because like you couldn't do any damage to it. It was constantly like attacking you and stuff. And you have this little sun kind of character, and it has electric powers, and electricity is cool and stuff. Like, so like little Gino thought like, yeah, Watt's super cool. Let's use Watt. And then I find Koops is a better Koopa, personally, because of the journey that he kind of goes on from being like this shy little Koopa that's not really that confident, and has a really cool hoodie, and eventually kind of like grows up a bit and was like, okay, I'm confident on my own 2 feet. And like you see this big character change within Koops. Like I feel like Koops has like, out of all of these characters, has the second best journey in Paper Mario. So I'm kind of torn on this one, but if I'm going on just pure like nostalgia for me, I think I have to go with Watt.
Gino, I agreed with everything you were saying except with the ending of where you said you have to go with Watt. Everything you said is exactly the reason why I would pick Koops. And I just love Koops. He's like the unlikely hero character arc, really. Like, he's just like, you wouldn't expect him to be a powerful party member, and he's just so shy and so timid, and then he ends up becoming like arguably the best partner in the game as well, like in my opinion. Like, I love like the timing elements of his attacks. Like, I just something I was able to do, and I felt like I was accomplishing something as a kid. Like, Koops, I think, is such a great design as well. The bandage on his nose, like it's yeah, I don't know. I love Koops.
I also have a similar story to Gino, but I didn't think that Watt was an angry sun. I didn't know what the hell Watt was. I was convinced Watt was just an original thing till much, much later. And I still can't look at Watt the same, because I think that the pacifier looks like Watt's nose. And that's how I view Watt.
That's the pacifier?
Yeah, it's a
baby.
pacifier. It's a baby.
What the hell?
Right?
Just quickly, with the nose, if you envision the pacifier as a nose, Watt looks like a wiggler.
Yeah, like it's like really strange. I didn't know what Watt was. That's why I thought it was like original. But here's the thing: I can acknowledge the journey that you and Gino refer to for Koops. I actually don't think Koops' story is that good. I think it's real basic. I find Koops very forgettable. I don't dislike Koops. I don't find him unique. Like, I feel like they got away with Goombella being similar to Goombario because she has such a unique, vibrant personality. But for Koops, I always felt like this just feels like Cooper. Like it like, to me, he never felt distinct enough that I never really like grew attached to him. Whereas Watt, I always liked because she was very unique. I was like, what is this? And also in combat, she's super, super useful because she's the piercer in Paper Mario 1, and she does way more damage than Miss Mouse does, and her like support abilities are way better. So purely from combat, like, I think Watt is the best partner in Paper Mario 1, and I just prefer Watt as a character.
I agree. I prefer Watt. And even though Koops plans to go run for mayor, we all know that Koops isn't going to get elected anyways. So, from my perspective, Watt, way cooler. Watt I think is also the only partner in Paper Mario 1 that can damage Bowser when Bowser has a Star Rod. Like when you actually attack him, it just deals 1 damage, but just to say what's that powerful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would pick what, because even Koops, I love the Koopas, but like you can't deal damage against anything in the air. Like it's absolutely useless. But Matteo, do you agree?
Agree about what?
I thought you picked Koops.
I
Do I
did
have to
pick
convince
Coops.
you? Oh, do you have to convince you, or no? We just win.
Yeah, it's 3 against 1.
I voted for Watt.
Okay.
Okay, we're on to the second side of the bracket. This one is Twink from Paper Mario 1 and Bo, or Bow, as Gino said, from Paper Mario 1.
I'm
Oh,
going.
Bow Wow.
I'm going with Bow. Twink isn't a real party member.
I will say, Kate, you can say Twink isn't a real party member. That's fine. However, Twink has a very good. I can't say his name. The Star Child has a very good story. I think. I think he's really like the character that has like a consistent story throughout Paper Mario 1, and he's really, really well done. I like his story, in my opinion. His story is what you guys just described Koops' story as, but better. The like star kid who wants to be brave and wants to be big and powerful and mighty, like the star spirits that he heard so much about, but then they get captured by Bowser, so he takes it upon himself to rescue the princess and help, and then stands up against Bowser. Like, I think his story is great. That being said, Bo is my favorite party member, and nobody is beating Bo. So Bo is my vote. I'll talk more about Bo when we get to a matchup where I need to defend her. I don't need to defend her right now.
I like baking cake with Twink. The baking cake mini game with Peach. And come on, like I have like the music stuck in my head, so I'm actually gonna pick Twink.
I have the Twink music stuck in my head too.
I honestly could care less about either of these characters, so we'll do a best 2 out of 3 for this one. I will pull my vote.
We have Parakarry versus Bombette.
I gotta go with Parakarry because Parakarry is great. I love Paratroopas and the whole like mailman vibe that Parakarry has. And like all the Paratroopas are just the Mushroom Kingdom's postal service.
And the fact that Parakarry comes back in Thousand Year Door at the beginning of the game, great. Parakarry's my favorite companion from the first Paper Mario, and he's not like that great in combat, but traversal with Parakarry is kind of cool. Like you use him a lot. Design wise, I love the flight goggles he wears, and he still has his letter bag. I find that in general, just the Thousand Year Door characters are better designed than the original ones, but Parakarry has like some of the design elements I love about Thousand Year Door still. So I'm gonna go with Parakarry. Like Bombett's just a pink bomb.
That's just a pink bomb.
Yes,
That's Mario 64.
yes,
Yeah.
that's what Bombette is. Oh, she's got a pigtail. Okay, but fine, whatever. But like, she's just a pink bomb.
I do agree with you. I do like Bombette. She's a cute character, but like I do agree with you. Like Thousand Year Door does like up the ante with a lot of the designs and like the characters. And Parakarry is one of those classic ones from the first game that was like a cut above the rest.
He's on the box art.
Yeah, like Parakarry is very well designed, and I think he's a great character. He's useful. He has a cool side quest associated with him. He's relatively useful throughout the whole game if you want to use him. So I would go with Parakarry.
Isn't there a whole side quest where like you have to use Parakarry to deliver letters to people?
Yep, you have to help him deliver letters. Yeah.
It's like, okay, Mario, I'll help you with this, but I still have a job.
So is that Parakarry's one or?
I understand Parakarry gets to move on, but I want to point out the fact in Sticker Star, Parakarry makes a cameo and a letter found in a trash pile, where in my opinion, where his character belongs compared to Bombette. I love Bombette. Parakarry can move forward. The name.
A game that belongs in a trash pile has a letter from a great character in a trash pile.
I can't confirm the great character portion, but Parakarry, yeah.
Screw Sticker Star.
I love Bombette.
Bombette is. I like Bombette too. I think she would have won had she been against other characters, but Parakarry's
I understand.
Now, we do get another debate of Bomb versus Koopa, which
Shitty
is
Bomb.
Bobbery and
Oh my god.
Cooper.
Joe, you take that back.
Yes.
You take that back.
Literally, Pink Bomb is so much better.
Bobbery has the greatest mustache.
You didn't cry when Bobbery's tragic backstory is shared,
No.
and the bitter heart of gold, like old man, comes through and is like, "Yes, you're right. I have been a fool." Like he's such a well written character. Like he's that moment. Bobbery for me is that moment. Like, and there's very few of these in Paper Mario across the series, but he's one of those ones where it's like, damn, like they let themselves be deep because they don't always do that. But like Bobbery was one of those moments where I was like, damn, like this is real sad. Like this is like real human emotion, as Tommy Wiseau would describe it.
The two times in which the Paper Mario series has generated that level of emotion for me were both done with bombs. And like, say what you want about Paper Mario Origami King, but Bobby is a fantastic character, and that was so gut wrenching what happened to him in that game. And then Bobbery is just exactly the same. Like Nintendo, when they're writing bomb characters, they know the right strings to pull there. And Bobbery's design is phenomenal. How he has the glorious mustache, and what do you even call it? The key on his back is a wheel.
No, it's a ship steering
Yeah.
wheel.
Yeah, I know, but that's the key you
Yeah.
wind on the bob-ombs, right? But it's the steering wheel. Like that's fantastic. Key's a great chapter in that game, and like the emotional weight of Bobbery's story is such a huge part of that. Like, and not to mention, he is a fantastic partner again for combat. Like his I suck at button mashing. Okay.
I can still see Matteo struggling mashing A to do the
Yeah.
big blast ability. He would make faces and it's like,
I rarely pull that off. Even today, if I were to play the remake and I would attempt that, I would fail miserably. But like Bobbery, it's him and Yoshi Kid for me. Like just
I don't know if it goes
he's
that
so
far for me, but
No,
he is
he is
so
great.
good.
He is a great character. Cooper is
I'm not trying to be a dick, but I do not remember Cooper at all. Like, what is he like?
Cooper is my most memorable.
yeah, he wants to be an adventurer. He's like the apprentice. He like wants to become the apprentice of Colorado, and he's like all about like I want to be an adventurer like you, and then he like follows you around on your adventures, and then he's also the one who I believe at the very end of the game narrates like going around with Colorado and visiting places. Am I wrong?
I'm pretty sure you're correct.
Like
Unless
Cooper is, in my opinion, Cooper is like the Goombella of Paper Mario 1.
But is Cooper better than Bobbery though?
I don't think he's better than Bobbery. I personally, my vote is Bobbery, but I do think Cooper is a good character.
Cooper is the one that goes ahead and has joined Colorado and does the whole epilogue thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I thought that Coops' dad was Cooper, just with thick eyebrows. They have the same color palette. Coops' dad has like the orange skin and the blue shell, and I'm like, is that the Paper Mario 1 guy?
Does Coops' dad have a blue shell?
He does, and he has thick eyebrows.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that must be Coops. There must be Cooper.
The sad thing about this is when I look at the like who we've let go through, and I know like this is so arbitrary about who is like beside each other. It's just sad to me that Baumette and Cooper, who I think are fairly good Paper Mario 1 partners, won't be in the next round, but we let Lackluster go.
That was a coin toss. You let
You're
the
one
decide.
that generated this, Jules, okay?
I was willing to flip-flop to Miss Mouse.
I'm upset.
I do have to go with Bobbery. I'm sorry.
I literally wish that Bobbery just drowned when his ship wrecked. Never mind being on the verge of death.
Rude.
Yeah, sunken all the way down to
I'm
the bottom.
surprised you don't like Bobbery.
Bobbery is like...
I didn't use Bobbery. I barely used Bobbery in 1,000 Year Door. I did not.
Very interesting. I'm learning lots about our experiences with Paper Mario. I thought we all had similar opinions. I'm learning that's not the case. Okay, the last one is Goombario versus Madame Flurry.
Joe, you start.
I really like Goombario, but because I feel like Goombella is just a better version of Goombario, even though like I also prefer Paper Mario 1 partners, I think Madame is technically a better partner. Just I don't know. She also was heavily used in my playthrough, whereas Goombario was used literally until I got Cooper. So I think I'd have to go with Madame.
As much as like Flurry is such a meme because you hold on to her breast as she blows, I think she's probably the stupidest looking thing in Paper Mario. I think she's useless. She is one of those characters like Lackluster that when you get her, she's not even the best party member to have.
Mhm.
And I personally don't find her very interesting. I find her funny because of how she looks, but I think I would go with Goombario, even though I think Goombario is fairly like plain.
I feel like you're able to discover a lot of secrets with Madame Flurry, just because like she can like use the breath attack, like her breath ability to just like blow away pieces of paper that are like covering up secrets and stuff. Like I remember this one area you could actually find a secret chest if you blow the air in a specific place, and it just like it's like a post-it note that kind of just like peels off and like, oh, there's a chest here now, or there's a hidden path that I can follow that'll bring me to a secret area, or things like that. I feel like a lot of my like negative association with Flurry is because I really didn't like the puny tree level, and that's her level. But I would always come back to adding Flurry back to my party because I believe she got a lot better once you leveled her up. Like once you invested some of those like partner points or whatever it was, like in the partner upgrade area, she got a lot better. And like eventually, like you could be fighting like really annoying battles, and you could just use her just to blow the enemies away and just like, I don't want to deal with this.
That's what I was gonna say. You can just blow them off the stage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely why I used her a lot. That sounds like something I would do as a kid. Not like play the game to not play the game.
Like if you were doing some grinding and all that kind of stuff, right? Like you want to like, okay, like I wouldn't want to fight certain enemies because they might have a spike top or something, and I don't want to deal with that with Mario. If I was doing a jump build, I would just blow them off the stage and like, be gone with you.
Is it Flurry then?
Yeah, I'm still going with Flurry. Yeah, just I feel like Goombario. Like I have a lot of really positive memories with the Goomba Village and like the first real few zones of Paper Mario 1. Just I feel like just Goombella does it a lot better.
That's okay. Matteo, I can't remember. You voted as well.
I guess Madame Flurry, but like I don't really like either of these characters. Like Flurry is like Vivian to me. Like I barely used her. I don't like her design.
Okay, so Madame Flurry will move on. Okay, we're in round 2. So we're gonna go through our second rounders. We'll start over on the other side. So we have Lackluster versus Goombella. I will start
Goombella,
off
let's be
by
done with
saying,
this.
yeah, Lackluster shouldn't be here. Goombella's way better. I don't know. How do you guys feel?
Just by the fact that Lackluster won with a coin toss makes me think that Goobella should just win by default, because all of us were willing to just dump Lackluster or Miss Mouse just to get our way. So like I kind of think that that's pretty telling right there.
I would still prefer Lackluster over Goombella. I never used Goombella. I hated like the tattle abilities, but that would still make it 3-1. So just end it. Just end it.
Goombella goes. We have Yoshi Kid versus what?
I am like ride or die Team Yoshi Kid. So everything I said before, I'm not going to say it again, but like design, personality, customizability, like all of that. Everyone kind of has a one of a kind Yoshi Kid. And like I like the fact that you kind of like you raise him, and the glitz pit is just such a fantastic level, and he's such an integral part of that. Like,
we know you're sold on Yoshi Kid. Is anybody feeling differently?
I still like Watt.
Yeah.
The light ability is really good. Watt is still a child also, so like you have this little baby that you're taking care of, and it's super powerful. The Shy Guys toy box was, I found, a very interesting and fun level as well. I wasn't expecting that. I like the whole gimmick of it. Like you had the gourmet guy and stuff in there. You had the train conductor, Shy Guys and stuff. And Shy Guys really don't get a lot of love anywhere else outside of, I feel like, outside of the Yoshi franchise. And they did a really good job with that level. And that's Watt's level.
No, this is a very interesting like pitch of like this character you get in that level and the level's good, so that therefore the character's good. Like
no, I like the character too. Like Watt, like again, like as I said before,
you know,
the glitz bit's great. Don't get me wrong.
Saying, but this isn't a level thing. This is a character thing.
I like Watt's abilities, and I also like the like again, like it also has that like kind of like here's this little kid that you have to keep safe and you have to protect it.
That's Yoshi
That's
Kid
literally
also.
Yoshi too.
I
Yeah, but
know,
at least-
but like
At least Watt has a pun for a name. Yoshi Kid, like they gave up. It's just Yoshi Kid.
You can name him whatever you want.
Watt is also
Yeah.
more useful after you get her than the Yoshi Kid is. Yoshi Kid starts really, really good because it has the like essentially it has like the free multi-bonk with the ground pound. But as like if you're going up against an enemy that has defense or a spike top head, it's kind of useless. Then you have like okay, you have your stampede ability, but you have to spend upgrade points and all that stuff into it too.
The Stampede is cool.
It is cool, don't get me wrong. But the thing is like Watt is good consistently and grows and like the abilities grow with Mario's power also. Yoshi Kid's kind of doesn't. And it's like Yoshi Kid is the best when you get him and then kind of levels off really quickly.
I don't know. Watt to me has a stupid design in my opinion. Like,
No.
I'm
Watt is
sorry.
the best design. You don't even know what it is.
Exactly.
That's why it's
That's why I
amazing.
don't like Watt.
You know why you're allowed to name the Yoshi Kid? Because Nintendo called it in, they phoned it in. They're like, I don't know what to name this thing. Let's just let them name it.
Mario, his best companion is Yoshi, and what better companion can they pull from to make a partner in this game than an actual friendly like race in a Mario game? Like all of the other partners are they're enemies basically that are not enemies in Paper Mario for some reason. Yoshi is Mario's best friend basically in the actual games, and they're actually like adapting that real relationship as a character in Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. And that's not something I can say about any other character in this bracket. It's perfect. Like Mario and Yoshi is like a man and a dog. Like it's like Mickey Mouse and Pluto. Like it just makes so much sense. I don't know, Gino. You're not allowed to be a fan of the Great Gonzalez and anything like that anymore. Like
He's entitled to his opinion.
no, I am shaken right now.
Okay, let's pause. We're not at the end of the discussion. Matteo, we know why you like Yoshi Kid. Now we could always name the Yoshi Kid Watt and then say Watt moves through.
That is true.
Now I'll be honest, I'm fence sitting on this one, so I needed to see what people were saying. Because I actually like these two equally. They're both really good characters, and they're probably some of my most used characters. I'm definitely fence sitting. But for reasons I cannot disclose at this time, my vote will go toward Yoshi Kid.
Dang, I am legitimately surprised.
But there's so many things that makes Watt better.
As much as I would love the chaos of picking Watt, because Yoshi Kid is clearly the favorite of like the fan base of Paper Mario, and I would love the upset. I am gonna say Yoshi Kid because again, like I can't disclose my entire rationale behind it, but I do think just purely as a character, Yoshi Kid is more of a character than Watt. Like I'll say like just character wise. Watt is way more useful in combat, but Yoshi Kid is more useful in the field.
Mm-hmm.
And so for that reason, I'm going to say Yoshi Kid has 2 out of 3 on Watt. So I'm going to go with Yoshi Kid personally.
Yeah, like I forgot. I didn't even mention the fact that like Yoshi Kid basically is the lackluster. Like Yoshi Kid's the fast movement speed throughout
No,
the
that's
game.
not lackluster. Lackluster is not that fast. Yoshi Kid's actually fast.
Well, they serve the same purpose within their games.
Yes. Not even lackluster. The spin and paracarry.
The spin and paracarry.
And we let Goombella through. Like, what the hell is this?
No, but this is a tie, so we have to figure out what to do. We flipping a coin?
I will say
Uh,
I really like not having to make my file name the color that I want of the Yoshi Kid and not have to like base it off of some arbitrary just whatever. Was it like how quickly you get there?
It has something to do with the amount of time from when you get the egg to when you battle the people. It's like based off a minute, off of minutes. It's something like 2 to like 3 minutes is one color, 3 to 4 is another color, 4 to 5 is another color until you get to the last color, and then it just resets.
Mhm.
So you can actually track it if you time yourself.
Yeah, green is like green 0 to 6, and then so on until white is 19 to 20 resets.
Well, I know I'm naming my file green in Thousand Year Door Remastered. So
See, I feel like that's just like okay, you name your file a color and then it just overrides it. Like, okay, yeah, that's a really that's neat if you want to do it, but at the same time, I feel like then I don't have the file as my name.
For the Yoshi kid, I never ever try to dictate what color I get. I let it be up to fate.
No, I always got to go green. Like the file name is meaningless in a Paper Mario game. Like it never gets used for any reason at all.
What do you name the Yoshi kid?
I name him Gonzalez.
Gonzalez and the Great Gonzalez.
So how are we determining this tie? Just in sake of time, I want to move forward.
Honestly, I'm kind of like in the same boat as you, Jules. I like both of the characters, but I want to see Watt go through just because I feel like Watt doesn't get enough love.
I believe it's a pacifier. Blown my mind. I thought it was a nose.
I knew it was a baby right from the get-go based off of like just the dialogue.
Is there a more entertaining way we could do it other than a coin flip?
One of you two can bend the knee.
Good luck.
Watt doesn't have any knees.
Tails
Yoshi Kid has a
Yoshi.
tail, and Watt is nothing but a kid.
is literally head. So flip a coin. I don't love doing the flip a coin, but we'll do the flip a coin. It is heads. Therefore, Watt moves on. To be fair, like I said, I was a fence sitter, so I could have gone either way. So in that sense, Kid had 2 votes and Watt had 3. So you could just reconcile with that if that makes you feel better. Bo versus Parakarry. I will begin. This is why I've stuck it out for Yoshi. I know you like Parakarry, but Bo is the best partner in the series, and Bo, I will be damned if Bo is not the winner of this matchup, because Bo is fantastic. She's funny. There's a goddamn reason only one partner from the first game made it back in a significant way where you could speak to them in Thousand Year Door, and it's because Bo is the best one. And her character Bootler, who's her butler, is also amazing, and that chapter is amazing. And Boos are the superior Mario enemy.
But without Parakarry and Thousand Year Door, there would be no quest. Parakarry had the most important job. He delivered Mario the letter that then started the quest.
But as Joe said, Parakarry also makes a cameo appearance in the worst Paper Mario game.
But he was doing his job. He was delivering mail.
See, what I love about Bo, though, is because she's not necessarily like a good guy. She's just like, she kind of like starts off, you think she's going to be the antagonist of the chapter, and then she's like, I guess I'll join you. And you know, she's a revolutionary. She's like, my people are literally being eaten and murdered by this person. So I'm going to, as the good leader I am, take it upon myself to travel with Mario. And even Bootler's like, are you sure you want to do that? You could die. And she's like, of course. She's like, these are my people. And then she's like, yeah, I like you, Mario. I'm going to come with you. She's also the Yoshi kid of this game, where she has that attack that does like a ton of damage, the slap. And she's the Vivian. She can make you invisible so that you can avoid big damage moves, which is way more important in the first game than in the second game, because the first game doesn't have super dodge, which trivializes Vivian being able to help you avoid damage. Whereas with Bo, that was the only way you could avoid those big like attacks that like Bowser, or I can't remember his name, the Koopa that's like blocking the way to the Koopa Bros tower later in the game. Like those characters that do like 11-12 damage, that's significant in Paper Mario 1 when you can only have 50 HP and there's no way to avoid. Like Bo is super useful.
I really like Parakarry, but like as useful as the fly is, I thought like you could like hover a lot farther. When I eventually played through the game a second time, I'd be like, yeah, I got Parakarry, and then I tried using the ability to like do things, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this isn't nearly as good as I thought it would be. But yeah, I did use Bow. I did use Bow for a lot of the battles and stuff as well when I was playing through Paper Mario 1. The thing is, like, these were my 2 mains, actually, until I got Watt, and then it became Bow and Watt. So for that reason and that reason alone, I'll have to go with Bow, just because she stuck it out in my party a lot longer. Because she was the 3rd partner you got, right?
She was the 5th.
Okay, and then Watt was 6.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, Parakarry was, I think, 3 or 4 then.
He was 4.
I'm standing by with Parakarry.
I think I like Parakarry too. Bo's level scared me, so I never liked using her as a kid. I hated that whole area. I was terrified.
Sounds like it's another toss of a coin.
No, we're not gonna do this, because using your logic, like I'm a fence sitter and you can count it as 2 for Bow.
No, but we flipped the coin for Watt and Yoshi.
I know, but then you said if you can justify it in your head, it's like I was a fence sitter, and then
Yes, but that was just to make people happy. Now you're gonna make me sad.
oh god. So now it's okay when you do it to make people happy, but when other people do it to make you sad.
If it makes you feel better, it's tails for Parakarry anyways, so
I did like what was the boss level? Tubba Blubba?
I love Double Blubba.
Okay, so Parakarry moves forward.
I stand by that Bo's the best party member, but we win some, we lose some.
I'm 3 for 3 on coin tosses, so I just win.
I'm just starting this. Bobbery is going. I'm not voting my damn
We're
for
not.
it.
I'm not. This is not even an argument.
I do want to hear what Joe has to say, though.
I just don't like Bobbery. Like, I don't know. Like I said, could have died, should have died.
When you play the remake, you're gonna be like, "Wow, I was so wrong about Admiral Bobbery."
When I played the remake, I hope they made it optional to save him. Add another optional character.
Let him die.
Let him die. Okay, put him through.
Okay, sounds good. We're in our semifinals, so we start with Watt versus Goombella.
I'm on Team Goombella. Goombella gets way too much hate, and she's low key a fantastic partner. So I'm gonna stick with Goombella.
Like, I don't hate Goombella, but I have nothing good to say about her. Like, I have a lot of good things to say about Watt.
Your Team Watt, okay.
Team Watt.
Gino?
Oh gosh, I like both of these characters. Oh gosh, Watt was the final, like my main for after I got her in Paper Mario 1. And I feel like in Paper Mario 2, I switched between different characters depending on what I needed. I was a party swapper in Thousand Year Door because I gave Mario a lot of health and FP so I could use like more attacks and things. Like I wasn't really much of a badge user, so I couldn't just be like, okay, make Mario super OP and then just use any partner that I wanted to kind of like fill the gaps. I did like using the partners in that game, and I just made Mario just like a health tank and like gave him a few select abilities and a few select badges just to like cement that kind of play style. I did end up using a lot of like partner badges and stuff, and for that I think I have to go with Watt. Just because when I had Watt was just like, okay, you're staying on my party now and I'm just gonna like power through.
Yeah, I mean Watt it was my main in Paper Mario 1, even though like Bo is my favorite, like Watt is the most useful in combat. However, like I said, Goombella, prior to my most recent playthrough of Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, could not care for her. But I'm wholeheartedly a Goombella right now. I think Goombella is unsung. She doesn't get enough love in the game, and I'm sticking with Goombella.
I do have to say, like, using the tattle and filling the book is very much kind of like filling the Pokedex in Pokemon. So it kind of adds like kind of like a collector card kind of thing. It adds kind of like a collector. It's like a sub game within the game. And I know Paper Mario 1 didn't really have that.
I think for her, it's the same thing as I kind of said about the Yoshi kid. Watt, don't get me wrong. I think Watt combat-wise is really great, and I love Watt's design. But I think Goombella is probably the best characterized, or at least one of the best characterized like partners in Thousand Year Door, and especially because you spend a lot of time with her, because she, even when she's not your partner, like she does pop up sometimes to talk, because she does have a little bit of like consistent story, and I don't know, I just really like her character. She's such a good start and end point, because she also tells the epilogue at the end. And especially if you do what I do, which is I tattle everything, I'm always using her. So even if I'm not constantly like using her every time, like I usually start my battles or like start every level with her at the front of my party tattle, and then maybe swap her out. But she also
I do the same thing.
multi balance is really strong. Like she can be super super useful. I think Watt's more useful in the context of her game. I think Thousand Year Door adds a lot of variety and like ability to use other party members, whereas in the first game it does kind of like stonewall you off to some of the earlier ones. But I like Goombella. I want to stick with Goombella.
Oh gosh, I think I'm gonna flip flop. Sorry, Joe. The thing is, both characters are great.
Okay. Other side of the semifinals, we have the one, the only Parakarry versus the also one and the only Admiral Bobbery. I like both these characters. They're both strong. I resent Parakarry for beating Bo, but I like Parakarry better than Bobbery. I kind of agree with Joe. Like, I think Bobbery has a great story. Bobbery's not even in my top 3 in Thousand Year Door. I love him, but he had an easy ride because he went up against some of the, in my opinion, lower tier characters in his ride so far. I don't think he got nothing on Parakarry. I'm Parakarry on this one.
I'm also Parakarry.
Bobbery's my number 2 in all of the Paper Mario series. Parakarry is my number probably 3, I would think. It's tough for me because Parakarry is my favorite in the first game for sure. Yeah, jeez, it's tough. But I gotta go with Bobbery. Parakarry wishes he had a tragic backstory like Admiral Bobbery.
He does have a tragic backstory. He lost all his mail.
You steal it for work.
And he has a tragic future story. He had to appear in Sticker Star.
I don't want to go to another tie, but I love Bobbery's character. But I think I have to kind of go back to where Paper Mario 1 was one of those types of games that after I had a partner, I would stick with one of them, maybe switch back and forth with a second one. But I feel like with Paper Mario 2, I was constantly switching, kind of like what Jules did. I started with Goombella and then did the tattle, switched to another character, did some damage and stuff with them. Or I may have even just done some status stuff with other characters and eventually came back in and finished off with Bobbery. So I got to know each of the party members a little better. But Parakarry makes multiple appearances in all the games. Parakarry is going to go forward. I'm sorry. As much as I love Bobbery. And Bobbery's great story is a really strong thing. But the big blast abilities, I feel could have been defended against a little easier later on.
Okay, the final round. Goombella versus Parakarry. I feel we've talked about these two to the death. I'm going Goombella.
I'm going to go with Goombella as well. And if this was even 2 years ago, I would be like, oh, Goombella's awful. She's just
agreed.
It's so annoying, this and that,
100%.
whatever. But the tattle ability is just almost essential from a gameplay point of view, to a degree. But just from Gino said, having that extra collectible element added to it, and the write up about the enemy as well is something I always appreciate. So her usefulness in both the gameplay and her the bonus that she adds to the overall game as well, just from a content point of view, I think is something that's second to none really in the whole series. So I'm gonna go with Goombella.
I think I'm the person you first mentioned that I've never found Goombella useful, but maybe replaying Thousand Year Door will make me think differently. But for now, I think I'm Parakarry.
Joe, I will say Goombella just because I want you to go through that game. A lot of the dialogue that she says about individual enemies and stuff is downright hilarious. And you don't get that unless you actually go through and use your tattle ability. Honestly, there's a good handful, these, the 4 characters that we have here. Honestly, and this will even extend out to the Yoshi Kid also. Yoshi Kid, Goombella, Watt, Bobbery, and Parakarry are my top 5. And
Bo.
Gino ain't saying it.
It's Bao, thank you.
It's Bao.
It's not Bao. This isn't the incredibly good Disney Pixar short film about dumplings, okay?
No, it's bow as in I bow to you, good sir.
Exactly, because she's posh and stuff, right? So I gotta say Goombella just because out of all the other characters, I think there's more lines of dialogue and you can really kind of get her personality and kind of bratty, but also kind of spunky and I have an attitude and she's cool, good character, and I'm an assistant to the professor. Let's go solve this mystery. As well as wow, this enemy is really using that kind of attack. That's gross. Little things like that. It's just I found it hilarious.
I can't believe a Goomba won.
You will appreciate Goombella once the Thousand Year Door comes out on Nintendo Switch.
I won't use her. I don't think. I don't read.
I think Goombella is as you grow up, you appreciate Goombella more.
Again, I don't think anyone if we were having this conversation when we were in grade 7 when this game came out, or grade 6 when this game came out, we'd be yeah, the Yoshi is the best one, or yeah, the Bomb is the best one because they're cool.
I don't know what kind of child you were. I didn't have dialogue like that.
I definitely did, and I still do.
Yep.
In any case, that brings us to the end of our podcast. If you like what you heard, consider liking and subscribing, or leave a comment below to let us know who you think is the best Paper Mario partner. Maybe it's not even one from this. Maybe it's one of the ones from Super Paper Mario, and that's the only other game that exists in the series.
Maybe it's Huey.
Who's Huey? That doesn't sound like a character from a Paper Mario game.
Color Splash is decent.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, so it's time to sign out. Matteo?
Microsoft, make a new Banjo game. See everyone.